Anything that caught your attention about the culture of Paraguay?
If you treat people well, nothing's going to happen. It's manageable. It depends on you and if you understand where you are.
Raphael is a real estate investor and agricultural entrepreneur currently producing blueberries in sunny Montenegro. How did you get into blueberries?
Agriculture is a hugely risky enterprise overall.
Born in Israel and raised between Germany and Europe, he came to Paraguay to explore land opportunities and evaluate whether it could be his next strategic move. Would you see yourself spending time happily in Paraguay? In this episode, we talk about farmland prices, blueberry production, agricultural risk, labor culture, and why Paraguay might be a rare window of opportunity before global attention and capital fully arrives here.
Start paying attention now, otherwise you will pay the difference.
Welcome everyone, we're here with Raphael today, just here to talk about Asunción and more. So Raphael, just a quick introduction about yourself. Tell me where you come from, what do you do, how did you end up here in Paraguay?
So I'm coming from Montenegro. I'm originally from Israel. I grew up in Israel, partially in Germany, finished school in Germany at the time. I'm working in real estate and in agriculture. I was originally interested in blueberry production in Paraguay.
Really?
Yeah.
Why that?
Because that's what I'm doing in Montenegro. And I read that there are varieties out of Florida that are resistant to the heat, that could work in Paraguay, that there's basically virtually no production here. And so I thought to myself, well, we'll do the same as in Montenegro, supply the internal markets. I went to visit a couple of farms here. I just covered 1,700 kilometers driving the last week.
How did you
can imagine.
Which farms did you explore?
So we're here, right?
Yeah.
So it's like this.
Okay, yeah, that's a quite expensive farmland, but good farmland.
Yeah. So I've been anywhere from $2,000 to $25,000 per hectare.
Yeah, that's the ones that are more for soy generally here in Paraguay.
Yeah, like in Colonias Unidas, they started naming prices that are substantially higher.
Yeah, there are some gringo factors, I think, included.
I think so too. Yeah.
The more you go outside of Asunción, the more it's this idealized thing where he's a foreigner. Like for him, $1 billion must be nothing.
Yeah.
It's really like that.
And in our cheap currency, of course, he's coming with dollars, right?
Tell me more about your exploration.
Yeah, so I started with the Independencia area. I speak German, fluent German. I discovered that Paraguayans are not so aware of the road conditions. A lot of pop tires. Yeah, a lot of people marching up the mountain because they left the car down there. And so I started acting as a mountain rescue service up and down.
That's another business unit you can think of.
You got all the abuelas without water, yeah? So you got to help them out, right? And I met some super interesting people.
Really?
People that actually live there, Germans. Very, very nice people. Super secure locations, armed guards.
First generation guys?
First generation, retirees partially. Very, very interesting people, highly educated people also.
So, anything good for the production?
So they were very, very positive. In general, people in Paraguay are very, very positive, okay, and optimistic, which I cannot say about Europe. I met people that were willing to consider, we love the idea. Oh, this is so cool. It doesn't require much land because blueberries, you can literally with 1 or 2 hectares already make something worthwhile.
Really?
Yeah, you don't need those massive lands. And so I thought to myself, let's go in Cerro Cati. It's a bit cooler at night. You have a bit of a lower average temperature. I'm going to have an earlier yield. I'm going to avoid the Peruvian importations and I don't know what. But these are all theoretical ideas that changed as I investigated more and more. I ended up not far from there, a bit further south from Villarrica.
Okay, yeah.
Italians, 5 hectare blueberries. They showed me around. They tried to discourage me from joining the field, which is kind of to be expected. Don't do arándanos, do avocado.
To be fair, there's a point in the idea of doing avocados as well. Not going to say that they are better. I absolutely not going to say that they're better of anything. But have you realized that here the only production of avocados is those big hardest concrete, completely unflavored ones.
Huge.
While it's weird, right? In Paraguay, pineapples are smaller than avocados.
Then you know something's wrong. Okay.
Yeah, because they have the mini pineapples and they have the huge avocados, and it's quite.
I ordered a salad. There was like 3 pieces of avocado. I was like, "What is this? Like, where did the avocado go?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the good, tasty ones, the smaller ones, are all imported and super expensive. But there is no big production of the smaller, tasty ones. So that's a thing that I would say
could be interesting. Settinger, yeah.
How do you say it's going for those 5 hectares of blueberries?
So they claim that it's quite problematic in terms of selling it fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Selling it fresh, just as a reference, at the Gate Farm, you can get $10 a kilo.
Mm-hmm.
And frozen is $2.50 a kilo.
Okay.
So the majority is sold as frozen. And so it's a larger corporation. The guys that were there were the managers. They weren't necessarily the owners. They gave me the impression that it's very hard to actually sell it here as fresh. They faced some serious problems. The plants looked healthy. The plantation looked well managed. They even had an infrastructure for frost conditions.
Oh, really?
To prevent loss of flowers, of fruits, and so on.
What did they say is the issue? The supply chain or the demand?
The demand.
Oh, that's bullshit.
Yeah, I suspected it. It's probably bullshit. I also had quite a few people that I told this story to, and they were like, nah, they're just trying to discourage you from competing.
What is you can harvest on 1-2 hectares of blueberries? Like, just give me an idea.
So what I do in Montenegro specifically is I do it in pots. And so pots here, if you go with the same system that they have in Paraguay without a net covering it, they get super hot. So I would have to have a net. I would have to have a bit more infrastructure. My setup costs would be higher. Theirs was maybe 25,000 a hectare. Mine will probably be double that. And so you should be able from, say, 4,000 plants or so to get, after 4 years, would be nice if I get 10 tons.
10 tons?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Want to be my partner?
I think so, yeah. Wait, 10 tons? Let's say you average like $5 a kilo, whatever, because it's... We're going to say that it's
Let's go with that number because it's like an average of like you had a bad year, you had a...
Yeah.
Okay, let's go with that number.
So that's $50K a year in revenue?
Yeah, for a hectare.
For a hectare?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, 1 hectare. That's a
1
lot.
hectare netto.
Okay.
Let's put it in that. Like, you need a road around it, you needed this, you needed that, so maybe you'll end up at 1.3, 1.
Sure.
Fine. Okay, not so dramatic, especially with the land prices here.
Of course,
If you put it in pots, then you can also take a cheaper land, right? You're not so dependent
on the type
conditions.
Of soil. Yeah.
And
what is the general challenges you have while growing blueberries? Like, you said 4 years because that's how long it takes before they start producing?
They start producing in the 2nd year.
Okay.
The yield grows quite quickly, especially in hydroponics. And then you reach at year 5, usually maximum production. 2.5 kilo per bush would be nice. Maybe with the heat conditions here, I can expect a bit less.
Okay.
Main challenges, I don't know in Paraguay yet, so I don't want to set it in stone. But birds love to eat blueberries.
Oh, yeah.
So they come from the sky and rob you blind. So that's, for me, automatically I need a net. I don't even want to find out. Okay, I don't wait 4 years to find out that the birds like blueberries. And if it's in soil, then definitely acidity of the soil must be present. Must be pretty acidic.
Oh, really?
You cannot have like some random ground. You have to really find the right spot. And then they like cold.
But you can work on the pH, right?
You could work on the pH. If it's in pots, then definitely it's very easy. You just put like in the irrigation the right components to make it acidic enough. Cold is often an issue. That's
the thing I was thinking. Like, generally, I remember blueberries growing spontaneously close to my parents' house in Italy, but that gets very cold right there in the north, close to the Alps. Like, it's pretty cold climate. So I was wondering, like, do they grow here?
So you do have, we're talking about high bushes.
Mm-hmm.
Blueberries normally are this tall in the forest.
Okay.
Tiny plants. We're talking about a high bush, what people call American blueberries.
Okay.
And you have the northern and the southern ones. The northern ones is what I'm doing in Montenegro right now. That requires quite a few hundred hours of under 7 degrees or around 7 degrees.
Okay.
Yes, you could say up to 12 hours counts as a half hour, whatever. The southern high bushes, they're from Florida. Some of them require pretty much nothing.
Really?
50 hours, half hours, like between 7 and 12 degrees, you could still count it in.
We do have some parts of the year that are quite cold here. Yeah. Below 7, I would say it's maybe not more than 10 days a year.
But then you do have your 5-6 hours at night that are around 7, right?
Around 7, yes.
So you could accumulate 50 or 100 hours.
Oh, yeah. You
cold.
can definitely accumulate that. If that's all it takes, yeah, you can get there.
That works for certain varieties. And I figure the Italians already did their homework and didn't plant 5 hectares for nothing, you know?
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah. But I also had these friends who were growing silk. They were planting the silk and then harvesting the cocoons and selling the cocoons for the textile productions. And the thing is that in the beginning, they started planting a type of mulberries called, I think in English, the plant where they grow.
Yeah.
That was completely not the one that fits the Paraguayan climate. So it took quite some figuring out to get to where they eventually got. Sometimes you can see like very random stuff going on. When you work with living beings such as cows or plants, sometimes 1 + 1 doesn't make 2.
Oh, yeah. And you definitely need to have cash reserves. You kind of say, oh, this is the budget, this is the plan, let's execute it. And then you find out that, I need another 40% more in cash. By the way, everybody watching this, there's another video with Alessandro about the farm, the silk farm. You should watch that too. Yeah, I watched it.
Is it very labor intensive?
It's mostly the harvest.
Really?
Yeah, you do some cutting, you do some weeding, mostly by hand. There are machines for harvesting blueberries. It's like a gate that passes and shakes everything, but it's
only for huge.
No,
scale.
you can make severe losses.
Really?
You can make severe. You can lose 30% of your yield and stuff. You can start doing jam if you like, or juice. Yeah, but that's the result, you know. And so the machines are getting better and better, but like. You got to be careful with that. And I was mainly looking into that. And then obviously I'm interested in real estate prices, land prices.
Is there a reason why you chose Paraguay specifically?
I was already aware of Paraguay years ago. I'm a bit like you in that sense. I also had huge maps on my wall for many years. Okay, like the size of, huge maps. And so it's not like I stumbled upon it and I'm completely clueless. I went to Montenegro to seek peace and to seek a country that is beautiful, that has very small population, and a government that is not oppressive. Taxation in Montenegro is very similar.
Okay.
You don't have this whole notion of you can offset your baseball cap. No, you don't. You can't do that. We're in Europe. We're not even that far from Italy. But the thing is, taxation is between 9 and 15%.
Okay, very honest.
Okay, so let's say as a company, your first 100,000 are at 9%. After that, up to $1 million, you're at 12%, and after $1 million becomes.
That's
50%.
very legit. That's very fair.
Super, super fair. Then I'm definitely interested in checking it out, and this is the time to do it because I have only 2 to 3 years before the EU will come to Montenegro. That's my
estimate.
So I don't want to snooze. Because if you snooze, you lose.
Yeah.
And so I just went for it. Got on a plane, you know. Podgorica, Rome, Madrid, Asunción. Oh, yeah.
And, well, about your tour, how was rural Paraguay? Was it like you expected it or like anything that caught your attention?
Like farming is a lot about security. Mm-hmm. I used to farm in West Africa, in Nigeria, and security was our main problem. Okay, it basically ruined the business at the end of the day. You do well for a couple of years, and before you know it, people notice and show up with bigger weapons than you can imagine. So over, yeah. So one of my main points of investigation, and Asunción, I heard perfect. Yeah, you got this barrio, that barrio, a bit of thuggery, but generally speaking, super safe.
Yeah, 100%.
Especially for a city in Latin America and what the expectations are when you come here. Like everybody heard about the favelas and I don't know what in Brazil, and automatically you associate them because of the geographic distances that seem so small on the map. In reality, they're huge. I heard some creepy stories.
Really?
Yeah, I did. but they're rare. Once in 10 years, oh, that guy came at night with 8 guys in front of the gate and they robbed us and I don't know what. And I heard that everybody here has weapons. Everybody's armed to their teeth in the countryside.
Oh, yeah. And I would say also in general, there is not much of a culture of being aggressive or confrontation. Like there's a culture of avoiding confrontation at all costs. So there is also, I think, a mindset, culture kind of component that really adds to the safety of the place. Because there are a lot of places where actually confrontation is part of culture and crime is part of culture. I would say in Paraguay, they're more like Thai in this regard. They're very more like, nah, I don't want to have problems, It's
like if you, for example, give, I don't know, a group of workers a job on the field in agriculture and they do a, excuse my language, shit job. And so you're like, what is this? This is nothing, okay? And you don't want to pay them. Don't be surprised when they come at night. Okay.
Yeah.
But like if you treat people well, nothing's gonna happen, usually. That's the impression that I got.
Did you explore that thing already? Like when it comes to the human resources you would need to find for the fields?
Not requiring a lot of know-how past 1 or 2 employees.
Okay.
I'm strongly assuming I could bring them from Argentina.
How would you manage being at the same time involved in production in Montenegro and in Paraguay?
In Montenegro, I hired the biggest expert in the country. I have my local guys.
What do you do to control things remotely? Just WhatsApp? Do you have your own systems?
So you need cameras. You need to visit.
Okay.
Yeah, people need to see your face. People at least need to see the face of your right-hand man.
Mm-hmm.
The main advantage, I must say, for me in Montenegro is EU subsidies.
Okay.
Yeah, as much as I dread the EU coming, because I'm a German citizen as well, and Germany could change taxation regime like America to EU-wide or worldwide, massive subsidy for farm setup.
How does that look like?
In my case, you apply, you give them the project fully planned out. Takes about a year.
Okay.
You get approved. They do an inspection. They do a couple of requirements of extra documentation, and then it drops 70% on you.
Oh, wow. Is there any subsidy also on the price that you get to sell your product?
So the product that I'm selling goes mostly to a supermarket, and supermarkets is begging you.
Okay.
Just bring it, please. You have more. So supermarket is very happy.
The price of land.
So for the land that I'm working with right now, it's 1.4 hectare. It's on a river. And so they wanted 143,000 because it's 10 euros per meter.
Wow.
And coffee, cigarette. 2 days later, 80,000. And they wanted an extra 1,000 to go like clothing in the capital city. So I was like, okay, you can have it.
30,000, like lowest possible bid in Montenegro. And what, 20K USD though? So even less. Highest possible bid in Paraguay?
Yeah, so land here is spectacularly priced. Like, the obvious alternative, and you probably hear this all day and all night, is Panama. And the prices there are just double. Whatever is quality here is 5,000, is there 8, 9, 10,000. Anyone tells you different, they're cheating you.
Oh, sure.
Or they are distressed. That's maybe another case that's possible, but that's about it. So I don't think there is much competition for land prices here. The issue is just like to know what you're buying. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they plant a lot of eucalyptus urugrandes here.
Yes.
They could be draining swamps with it and then selling you something where they cut the trees. They already took the money for the trees. They cut it and they left it nice and dry. And then it's rainy season and you bought a swamp.
Yeah, that is though something that is going to be more of a problem in the future, I guess, because the eucalyptus rush started a few years ago, around 7 or 8 years ago. And Paraguay is now making it some of a third pillar to the economy. It wasn't there before. So it's hardly possible for someone to have completed the full cycle for eucalyptus around 13 years. So it's generally rare that you would see some recycled eucalyptus land because we're still most of the things you see. Most of those plantations were not there like 15 years ago.
So there's all kinds of tricks. That's what I mean by that. You have to really do your homework. That's my point.
Yeah.
You have to know why and what you're buying. How does it look like when it rains? It's the same in Montenegro. Like you can buy something that looks great now. better buy it in the rainy season, ideally in November when it pours.
Yeah.
You know, if you can just walk it.
How we're going to go, like, is there any coping involved with this idea of the rainy season? Here, there are places where it's definitely more marked, let's say, where you can definitely tell the difference, and places where there is not such a big difference between different seasons. What would the blueberries need?
So blueberries like water, but like any or many commercial plants, drainage is always important. Not so simple to do that in one visit and figure it all out at once. It definitely requires me coming back.
Yeah.
And it definitely requires me doing my homework. And I'm hoping you have a contact with one of the big supermarket chains here.
Yeah.
So I can ask about the demand and hear that it actually is all nonsense. And please, do you have blueberries for me? Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
But I'm sure there is a lot, because what you can tell easily going to Delhi market is that there is hardly ever any blueberries up to be bought. Like, there are shelves dedicated to blueberries and raspberries, and like half of the times you're there's not.
Because of demand.
Yeah, because they've been bought by someone else. Yeah.
So I just went to Delhi market the other day, and it was from Chile.
Uh-huh.
No price.
Really?
And when there's no price, you know what it means.
Yeah. Have you ever heard the story of dates in Paraguay?
I can imagine that the Chaco is quite good for it.
Yeah, the thing is that there was no dates production, and you would only find them in like very high-end markets and supermarkets like that. And to some extent, it's still true. 4 years ago, I don't want to lie to you, it's between 3 and 5. They've done this research along with Saudi Arabia. There was this involvement between the two parts to study like the feasibility of production, and it's going way better than planned. And so what happens now is that Paraguay is starting to completely produce enough for the local demand, and is already looking at the export.
That's quick, because you know these trees, they take a while to grow.
Yeah, no, I think with the partnership with Saudi Arabia, what they did was already start to.
They brought in a bit bigger trees and so on.
Probably, yeah, because it was also for research purposes at the beginning.
Okay.
It was more of a feasibility thing, so I think researchers can't afford to spend.
And you know,
10
if
years.
the market's small, it's saturated quick.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely blueberries have higher demand than dates, but also I would say, like, let's think about it. If what you're talking is like 7 million people, right? At least internally, then you're gonna have at least, like, I don't know, $1 per year spent by everyone on blueberries.
That's $7 million.
$7 million.
Well, that's way bigger than the 5 hectare that I saw with the Italians. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Now, plus I would say that if you're able to play your cards well, there is no reason why you shouldn't be exporting also to other markets. For instance, Sao Paulo would be the most logical one, because in Sao Paulo, they would beg you for the blueberries way more than in Montenegro.
So you're saying whatever they're producing in Brazil is definitely not enough?
The first factor is that in Brazil, pretty much all you see, even in climates that are more suitable for blueberry production, is cows and soy. Everywhere is cows and soy. Everywhere. And corn. But then you have these places like in Rio Grande do Sul, which are apt for apple production, for instance.
Okay.
The apple producers from there, they are like buried in money, because the whole Brazil buys from them, and they plant the Fuji apples that are so sweet. Like, having an apple in Brazil is an experience that everyone should do once in their lifetime, because like it's gonna feel like you've been lied to your whole life, and that all the apples you've eaten in your life were complete bullshit.
And this is the real deal.
So good. Like, it's so good. It's impressively different.
And you cannot get them here.
And you cannot get them here.
Because I would be like, let's go have one after this talk, yeah?
Nah, sometimes you do find them at Delhi Market, but that's also Delhi Market or Casarica.
You need to have a bit of luck, yeah?
Like in Sao Paulo, you would see people buying everything, anywhere, anytime. Like at 4 a.m., people buying Chanel bags in a metro subway.
It's like 15 million people or something, no?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Massive.
And this is a lot
it's like double the
for
population of Paraguay just at one city.
Yeah, just at one city. That's why when we beat them at soccer, it's quite impressive. Because like, wow.
How'd we do that?
And even the silk farm that I was telling you about, they mostly sell to Brazil. Yes, in Londrina, just like 50 kilometers after the border, you would find this huge company that buys like any cocoons in Latin America.
So they're here for taxes and land prices.
Yeah, mostly.
And security, maybe.
Exactly. Yeah, just land prices are way higher in Brazil. So there's also like this factor. One other factor that adds to the equation that I'm curious, because you are on both sides of the equation, since curious. Let's say it passes. I know there's a lot of attrition and maybe yeah, maybe not, but it's being negotiated, this EU-Mercosur trade deal. What would you say the flow of blueberries be like in that case? Here to there or there to here?
It might be impossible for it to flow from here to there in a way that would cause destruction. But what I fear is that in many other fields in agriculture, we will see farm destruction in the European Union.
Is there anyone specifically that you're thinking of?
Definitely in grains, we might have a problem. Definitely in animal production, even though animals are sold at a quota according to the agreement, it's not a free fall. But you know how it is. Now they're saying 50K and next year they're saying 70K.
True.
And so it's unpredictable. Predictability is very important for agriculture, especially with the cycle of good years and bad years. In fruits, you could see destruction in certain fruits, especially when we're talking about production coming from the rather temperate parts of South America. Farmers are not necessarily happy when they hear about this deal. Yeah, farmers are worried. In Montenegro, it's not really an issue because nobody wants to do much in Montenegro besides of smoke cigarettes and drink coffee and talk about how they screwed the gringo selling land. So, no, people are into tourism mostly. Whatever you do, you can grow cabbage and make money in Montenegro.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can grow anything.
Okay.
Literally anything. And you'll make money as long as it's feasible and you're not like hocus pocusing like some crop that doesn't make sense.
How did you get into blueberries?
I went to university in Israel first.
Okay.
I met an American there. We did the projects together in West Africa. When that ended, we split ways. Told him, hey, I'm in Montenegro and this and this. I told him about the subsidy. And the subsidy is very attractive. It makes anyone think twice what they're doing with their lives. And we started discussing what kind of projects are suitable for the land prices, which we just described as more than double than here, because the prices that I'm getting, most people don't get in Montenegro.
Would you think that there would be a market for blueberries in the EU even without subsidies? Or the market exists because of subsidies?
The buyer's market would exist also with higher prices. That is a guess. Okay, I'm not an economist. I think that even if we were 50% higher, people would still buy. Mm-hmm. Simply because...
Would it make sense for you, though? Like 50% higher without subsidies?
I would still buy, but I would probably start buying frozen.
Okay.
So if that's now €4, and I tell you, no, it's €5.50, you still going to buy? €4 is also not pocket change for a little box like that.
No, yeah,
it's also
exactly.
a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for the amount you get, you would say yeah.
Yeah, so I'd still buy for €5.50. I'd nag a bit. I'd throw a few cuss words and I'll pay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's also that product that you're like, put a little bit on your yogurt, put a little bit on your pancakes.
There you go.
Generally like just spoon it up. So it makes sense. But I would say at that price, 50% more, would it make sense for you, the producer? Or it would be still like without the subsidy, even if I sell at 50% more, it doesn't make sense.
So the subsidy is at setup cost, right? If I didn't have the subsidy, for me, it would be vital that prices would be higher on the market when I'm selling.
Exactly, because of yield.
So that's definitely like advantageous to me. Obviously, prices will keep rising as I continue production because it's hedged with inflation.
Yeah.
Right. It's food. Food usually goes up even before salaries go up.
Why do you reckon there's not more blueberry farmers, considering that the potential yield is so much higher?
In my opinion, farmers are traditional people. Mm-hmm. They are often a bit superstitious. That's a worldwide observation I made. I've been to probably 45 countries in my life. And everywhere I do a little bit of agricultural tourism. Farmers often follow in the footsteps of the generation that came before them. Farmers often just copy what the neighbor does because they see, that worked well. Most of the time, they will not now risk something that might fail.
So you're like, okay, lack of innovation and probably like risk adversity is what is causing...
It's all risk, and agriculture is a hugely risky enterprise overall.
Out of everything you've seen, like anything that caught your attention about the culture of Paraguay?
I must say that I got two different profiles.
Okay.
Okay, there is the face value of everyday life, and there is the trabajo cultura, or cultura de trabajo. Okay, so these are two things. There is the culture of the everyday life. It's tranquilo. It's very calm. People drive slow. People are not so aggressive. Okay, if you drive like you're in Germany, they're like tranquilo, amigo. Okay, everybody's more busy drinking tereré than, speeding. And they all have the container while they're driving.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah?
Riding shotgun.
Right there, shotgun. Very, very calm, super friendly, super helpful. Yeah. Even though Paraguayans themselves, I have the feeling that they don't see it as prevalent as we see it coming from Europe, because they don't see the contrast.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, for them it's like, yeah, sure, whatever. and for us it's like, wow, you guys are nice. Probably the most hospitable, friendly people from all about 45 countries I've been to.
Tell me about the second.
Okay, so my main language of communication in Paraguay is German. Okay, this is my main advantage. That's why I also wasn't so worried about language barrier.
Okay.
I got a little bit of broken Spanish for the taxi drivers, but that's about it, So I could interview people, and I could interview extensively. Their German here is top.
Wow.
Perfect Northern German, like on the news channel.
The real deal.
The real deal. Like you could be in Germany.
Okay,
like that well, people speak here that are living here for generations. I'm not talking about German immigrants, like from the last wave of Corona, of COVID, and so on. I'm talking about people that are here 100 years. And so they tell me, look, like people work. People are not total clowns necessarily. We're not in Africa here. It's not a total kindergarten, but you should hire women. Yeah, like women are much more serious usually, especially when in the agricultural field. And men can get offended quite easily if you criticize them. It's just the things I heard. Yeah, if you're not around, they will start thinking about shortcuts.
Okay.
Very quickly, they'll go into shortcuts. How can I pretend to be working? How much time is left?
I would say also there is this point of not very high competition. You know what I mean? Like if everyone else was hustling super hard, you kind of have to. Like in China,
you wouldn't have a choice.
That's it. Like the competition at the end of the day determines how hard you're gonna. Okay, like some people have it in their genes. All right, they're just made like that, and they overwork themselves because that's their workaholic nature. But like in the Gauss bell, this big chunk here would just generally be affected by the environment they're into. And if everyone is working their ass off, then you kind of have to, because otherwise you're gonna be cut off from the labor market. But if everyone else is taking the piece as well, then hey,
that's how it goes.
Would you see yourself like spending time happily in Paraguay?
I think it's going to happen. I don't see it necessarily as this year or next year. I'm here more in the sense of investigating and preparing for the day to come. I think also the interest in the country is going to rise quickly, and the currency is going to rise. Prices will go up. You don't want to snooze. You're going to lose. You want to be on it. Okay? This is the time to start paying attention. I don't care how comfortable your couch is. Start paying attention now. Otherwise, you will pay the difference. I see this country as livable. I see this country as sufficiently safe. City, specifically. Yeah, often people confuse Paraguay with Asunción. It's not one and the same, guys. This city has the educational institutions required for Westerners or people from high-income countries to be satisfied. Even bilingual schools, English, German.
A lot. Italian, French, Japanese, Korean.
It's all there.
Yeah.
Okay, so, wow, Koreans are a lot here. I noticed.
Yeah.
I noticed.
And Taiwanese, they're the final boss.
Yeah, yesterday I passed with the taxi by the Taiwanese embassy. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
My kids are 3 years old and 1 year old.
Okay. They
live in Montenegro. They're coffee with milk on top. Yeah. Mom is from Nigeria.
Okay.
Yeah. So they would definitely need to be in a place that has schools that can accommodate the level that we would want to see.
Yeah.
Because I heard that schools in the countryside here are just for literacy and basic calculation.
Yeah. You would see any rich family sending from the countryside, you would see them all sending their kids to study in the city.
Yeah.
Like, no question asked.
So I obviously started checking, is there an international school in San Bernardino? No, you need to be in Asunción.
At the end of the day, yes.
Yeah, you need to be there. You could be in Luque, you could be in Limpio or something, but that's about it.
To be fair, of course, there is a scene also in Ciudad del Este, but it's
wild.
Yeah.
Wrong impression for me. Like, first impression is an epic fail.
Just check out Hernandarias, which is this like heaven where all the rich people who have businesses in Ciudad del Este actually live. And that is like a huge country club with the golf inside and these amazing villas and mansions all over the place. It's like a gated neighborhood as big as a city where pretty much they concentrate all the good things happening in Ciudad del Este. Everything else, it looks like being in Bangladesh for how like busy and noisy and street selling it is.
Traffic is mad. Like you want to be on a motorbike.
Yeah, or on an helicopter.
You can choose. Like it's definitely not going to work with a car sometimes.
It has nothing to do with Asunción in a certain sense. They are worlds apart. Politically, they are worlds apart. They vote completely different things, and the culture there is way more mixed with Brazil. Like here, it's more mixed with Argentina.
And I bet there's also more organized crime from Brazil coming in.
Oh, yeah,
there.
way more. Pedro Juan Caballero and Ponta Porá are these two twin cities. I don't know if you heard about them.
No.
Yeah, they're twin cities, but one is in Brazil, one is in Paraguay. And there's a street somewhere that defines the moment you are in one or the other.
Oh, like that? No river in between?
No river.
Okay. Because I always imagined the river, Like...
Yeah, that doesn't go all the way up.
Okay,
so right there, yeah, man, it's like on another planet of Wild West.
So you can just like throw it from one window to the next.
Oh, yeah. You will actually not realize at all times where you are. Like if they ask you, are we in Paraguay or in Brazil? Like sometimes
no border control even, like no.
That's impossible. So if we need a school here that's gonna catch a bit of Brazil and a bit of Paraguay,
kids go
let's
to
build
school
it.
cross border.
Yeah, absolutely. They do.
So now I know not to go there.
Yeah.
Sounds like a terrible place.
Same time, I would say it's extremely interesting because it's a country of their own. Like the fronterizos, as they call them, they are not Brazilians, not Paraguayans. They are from the border.
Something special.
Yeah, they speak both languages. They think in three currencies. Like they know exactly how much that is in reais, guaranis, and dollars. Automatically. And there's surely some high-level organized crime going on there. Because of that and the unwillingness to, be in the middle of the attention, there is not much petty crime that would actually bother you. So it's actually way more livable than Ciudad del Este, where there is more petty crime.
Yes. There's a lot of street vendors running around, hawking. It was a bit weird for me. Yeah, I saw nice neighborhoods while I was driving through the city, but it was too much. In contrast to that, Asunción doesn't feel choked traffic-wise, even though the population is much bigger. I wouldn't say that Ciudad del Este is not green, but like this is a forest.
Yeah.
This city is a forest. Like even just looking out the window here is like, wow, it's green.
Yeah, it's super green. Now here, when you cut a tree, you have to plant 10 new trees. Yeah, there's a lot. Like when on the 23rd of February, finally, my gym investment is going to be open. And there were 2 trees in front. And basically, to remove those 2 trees that would completely hide the entrance of the gym, we had to plant 20. And so we did, right? that's
wow.
Yeah. And
you also need the space to actually do that.
Yeah. You can find space somewhere else, though. You can. You don't need to replant
City
them.
Land. So you just need it certified that you actually did it.
Yeah, it has to be within the city, but it doesn't have to be in your property right there. So we chose, for instance, a parking lot.
I think it's gonna stay that way for a while, huh?
Oh yeah, also the Paraguayans have it culturally that it's super important. Like for them, it's a very high priority because also the heat would be unbearable if there wasn't as many trees.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Like we're in the peak of summer right now. We have, 40 degrees?
40, 41. Yeah, tomorrow I think it's gonna be 41. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tomorrow should be the hottest day of 2026 so far.
So you must have that shade.
Yeah, that shade and also just the overall absorption of sun rays that would, if they just end up on concrete and asphalt, those are gonna heat up and it's gonna become oven by 2 p.m., 3 p.m. It's gonna be
more like Dubai.
Yeah, Dubai kind of
No,
style.
this is a great policy, and it's not to be taken for granted. I don't think many cities are enjoying this
It's
benefit.
the greenest capital in the world that has been for a million years.
Absolutely mind-blowing. Yeah, like, wow. No, this city feels right.
I like
this
that.
city definitely feels right for people that don't like too much population concentrated in one spot. Can always go to one of the satellites.
In Luque, it's already happening. Like, a lot of friends from Luque tell me, we see foreigners at the supermarkets now that would have been unimaginable 10 years ago. Generally, Luque is the most popular of the surroundings. San Bernardino surely has got its scene, but it's generally like elderly Germans, that kind of niche. Then you have Fernando de la Mora North, which is also like quite popular now compared to before. But at the same time, it's this feeling where you can be like, even some neighborhoods inside Asunción, like
Las Mercedes, San Lorenzo are even nice enough.
Yeah.
And San Lorenzo is huge.
San Lorenzo is huge. Yeah, every neighborhood.
Parts of it are even nice enough, right? You have closer than San Bernardino.
Completely.
I mean, some people go to Altos and Atira and so on.
Yeah, that is already like a smaller town.
Like, right? Yeah. So, but like you have the city of strawberries. How do you call it?
Areguá.
Yeah, so there's new projects popping up there. I've seen.
I like Areguá. I love Areguá because it's that thing, because like you want to be close to the lake, but it's half of the distance compared to San Bernardino.
Yes, much closer.
It makes a lot more sense, and it's way bigger. So it's got way more services. I don't know why San Bernardino has this much more scene compared to Areguá, while Areguá also goes like lakefront, and at the same time it's way closer.
It was nice, San Bernardino, but it didn't blow my mind. Yeah.
No, also I think like it's this place where you set high expectations because all the Paraguayans talk about it, and you're gonna be there.
Yeah, then like even the historical hotels, some of them are neglected.
Yeah.
Right? The lake smells a bit.
Yeah, you can't bathe there, so what's the point?
At least at this season, where probably this is like peak algae bloom or whatever. Yeah, people go party on boats, people have a good time, but it wasn't like the hype, you know.
Yeah, I think we can have the same good time anywhere else, you know.
I found Encarnacion like much more relevant for enjoying, you know, waterfront. Even probably some beaches here in Asunción, like
there is. If you go a little bit upstream before the city, where the water's still very clean, you got a couple of beach where you go there by boat only, so it's also more preserved and stuff, because you won't get mass tourism. And only people with a boat or at least a jet ski can actually get there. A friend of mine, like very German guy, he wanted to buy a boat. Before buying the boat, of course, he went upstream and measured the quality of water.
A very German guy.
Super German.
I love it.
Turned out to be like super clean. There's a kite surf scene that is popping up.
Really?
Along the river, and that is on some days you can see heaps of people.
Oh, yeah.
Especially on Sundays, you go there in front of the Costanera and such, you will see quite a lot of kite surfing going on. There is a lake for the Olympic sports, but you can rent stuff and get there to do wakeboarding and other things like that. There's an artificial lake that is on the way to San Bernardino that they have done just for practicing sports, and the wakeboarding is quite nice. So yeah, there are things. There are crystal lagoons also. They're going to build more here in Luque that are going to be even closer, and in Nueva Asunción.
And these are perfectly safe. You don't have to even think of any risk at all.
Nah, whatsoever.
No like current, no special fish that like meat.
Nah,
nothing.
Nothing can happen. They build them not deep enough for you to actually be never touching with your feet. A lot of people here can swim.
Okay, yeah. I was like, what? So, yeah, that makes sense.
Tell something to a person who is pretty much in your situation, like kind of not super happy about Europe and the way the EU is going, and is maybe considering Paraguay.
Wake up. This is the time to act. Some of you are too optimistic about the future of the European Union. The European Union can go south real quick. In terms of debt crisis, in terms of currency valuation, nobody promises you a $1, 20 euro forever. It's better to act now. It's better to at least come here like I did and check it out. If you can't afford the $5,000 trip, then you're probably not even relevant for this whole conversation anyways. This is the time, and you are going to wake up in a real Mexican nightmare if you don't.
Thanks. Mate, it's been a great pleasure to have you, and can't wait to buy shares of your blueberry operation. Gotta diversify the portfolio right here.
Hopefully.
And guys, that's all from Asunción for today, and I'll see you in Paraguay.
Cheers.